Here is a 150-pound guy that beat everyone in the steer wrestling. He let everyone use his horses, which were top of the line. He would turn around and win the saddle bronc, then go home and run the ranch. That was his true talent. So diversified, true rodeo competitor, a heck of a teammate, was always willing to help kids, says Lynn Meyer. How did this guy become so skilled? Who is this guy? Good afternoon. Please join us as we tell you a story. Robert Bruz Luger was born into ranching on September 1st, 1946, to Raymond Butch Luger and Thelma Lucy Luger in Fort Yates, North Dakota. Bruz was ranching as a youngster. He is a perfectionist, becoming an agricultural and livestock specialist, ensuring our nation's food supply. He jockeyed for his dad and others as a youngster in many horse races in North Dakota and South Dakota. Bruz attended St. Bernard's Mission School in Fort Yates. He was an average student that got into a lot of scoops, one day for being white, the next for being Indian, won about 50%. Then went home and got in a fight with older sister, didn't win any. As a senior at Fort Yates High in 1964, he was a top athlete on the Warrior teams as a football player and track competitor. That year, Fort Yates had a year that has not been duplicated before or since in Class B or A in the state of North Dakota. They were undefeated and unscored upon in football. They won the state cross-country meet, the state Class B basketball championship, and the state Class B championship in track. Bruz attended college at the Wahpeton State School of Science. He was on the state champion boxing team, winning individual runner-up champion in 1965. He won the North Dakota State Golden Gloves Championship in the welterweight division in 1966, and also graduated with a degree in accounting. Bruz was drafted into the United States Army on November 11, 1966, and served in Vietnam in the most active time of the war. He turned 21 years old in the 1st Cavalry in Vietnam. He was promoted to E5 Sergeant in the Army. He was awarded the National Defense Service Medal, Vietnam Service Medal, Vietnamese Campaign Medal, 2 Overseas Bars, 2 Bronze Star Medals, Air Medal, Combat Infantryman's Badge, Marksman's Badge M16, Sharpshooter Badge M14, carried M60 machine gun for 9 months, 11B-40 Light Weapons Infantryman. He was honorably discharged from the Army in 1968. In Bruz's words, Dad had a stroke in 1973, and I was thrown into running the ranch. We've been raising cattle and horses for over 70 years. We've had Herefords, Angus, Charolais, Limousine, Shorthorns, Longhorns, Sailors, Buffalo, Brahma, Cohorts, and Red Angus, with an Angus or Hereford Angus base. Also raised a lot of horses, mostly running horses or a combination of running and cow horse. We've had one horse that made it to the NFR and was voted Best Heading Horse of the Year 2 times, and numerous state champion horses, calf roping, barrel racing, bulldogging, and team roping. My rodeo career started quite late in life. There is a story. Bruz and good friend and traveling partner Clayton Hagel were leaving Fort Yates to go to the rodeo at Watford. They were late leaving Yates. They asked each other, "What horse do you want to draw?" One wanted to draw Anchors Away, and the other Tom Collins. With a time change, they were later yet. As they pulled into Watford, their horses were in the chute, Anchors Away and Tom Collins. They won 1st and 2nd in the rodeo. Dean Myers says, "One of the prettiest bronc rides I ever saw was Bruz on Tom Collins in Watford one year, and the scaredest I've ever been is when he offered me one of his saddle horses to ride. He can ride horses, and ride them well, that most cowboys can't halter." Please welcome Phil Baird as he speaks on Bruz's behalf.
Coming to this event every year, never cease to be amazed at all the people you've crossed paths with, the journeys you've been on, and Ron just left. But Ron Urlacher and I went to Jim Thompson's rodeo school in Billings. And it's about the same time where Ron took off on his rodeo path, and I was looking at the Cowboy Hall of Fame. And then Almut just left us. And I was wondering about Almut, but he was probably the 3rd person And him and my father-in-law aren't charging, they were good buds. And went out to Almet's place, and he pulled down the tailgate. Said, "Phil, what's on your mind?" I said, "Thinking about getting this Rodeo Hall of Fame started." If you know Almet, he's a pretty honest guy, He looked at me, he was quiet. "Are you sure you can do this?" Which is to say, I don't believe you. So it just, and he just left us, so I got to catch up with him. I've been asked by the family just to offer a few facts about Bruz. One of the things that I've done, as a lot of you know, is I've collected a lot of history research. And I would say after all these years, the best thing that I could talk about doing the research is, thank God we got flash drives. There's so much out there. There's so much out there in terms of technology. And Bill and company, they've been talking about getting the story out there. And so we're really encouraging that. But real quickly on Bruz's behalf, as you heard, he was kind of a late bloomer. And I have 16 pages, which I'm not going to read, but I just grabbed some highlights of what I found to be interesting about Bruz's adventure in life. First thing is he went to Vietnam in the late 60s. So he was kind of a late bloomer coming to rodeo, but I thought it was really interesting. He was a Native American soldier in the 1st Cavalry. Whoa, and saw a lot of action. So he had to be somewhat in a leadership role to be involved with the tail end of the Vietnam War. When he did come back home, he rode barebacks, he rode bulls, but he's settled into the bronc riding. And if you look at all the accomplishments of Bruz, as you get older, sometimes you start wearing out, and I call it advancing maturity. It kind of gets after you. Bruz's rodeo history, he got stronger and stronger and stronger in both bronc riding and in steer wrestling, and his resume shows that. But again, a leader. One of the things that I noticed is that whenever he was called to be at home, he just didn't go to the rodeo because he had 20,000-acre ranch the family had to take care of. So he had not only his own ranch, family's ranch, but he had a community in Fort Yates that he had to take care of. I heard Jerry Doan talk about bison, and his dad and his family, they had bison. So they had to be leaders in the bison business before there was a lot of, again, people involved with the bison world. Their family raised horses, race horses. And so that's another arena, so to speak, that Bruz and his family provided leadership with. And again, just actively involved with the business, whatever it took. But Bruz's career got stronger and stronger. By the time this young kid named Brad Jorgenson came by, Bruz was right there, and Bruz wanted over Brad by $20.30. His first, second, 2 titles that he won at the NDRA. And he's getting older, but he's coming back stronger and stronger. When the rodeo associations, the North American Rodeo Commission, somehow the Calgary Stampede got separated from the pro cowboys, and so they had team. And now you get on the Cowboy Channel, and everything's about the teams. Well, they kind of poo-pooed it back in then, but there was Bruz and company, the Badlands Circuit, and Bruz won the bronc riding at Calgary Stampede. I mean, not too many people can say that. As he got older, again, just stronger and stronger leadership where he could. He switched over from rough stock and steer wrestling to team roping. And they had that U.S. team roping deal event going on like that. He went to Oklahoma and won it, 40,000 with all the hardware and everything else like that. And the kid's up there in age now, but he's just roping and doing his main thing. So with those accomplishments, He's being, like I said, nominated for leadership in ranching and rodeo. He's had a lot of brands, so to speak, in the irons. And I'm really glad to see that Phil Haugen was nominated, and he's the only North Dakota cowboy to win the Linderman Award, but there was a state version of that. Bruz Luger would be a North Dakota Linderman Award winner.
Bruz is such a great guy, it takes a little bit of time here. Chad Berger wanted this letter wrote. To whom it may concern. When I was asked to talk about Bruz Luger, I was very excited for the opportunity. I have known Bruz since I was a little kid and can remember watching him ride broncs and bulldog steers. I can also remember how proud Butch, his dad, was of him. He would sit in the pickup box in his wheelchair and buy Bruz in every wild ride, no matter how much he went for, and 9 times out of 10, Butch would win the money. When I was old enough to compete against him, he was a fierce competitor and probably one of the best real cowboys I have ever been around. When Bruz got too old to ride broncs and bulldog, he became a really talented team roper. He went to Guthrie, Oklahoma to the U.S. team roping finals and won 2 world titles in the same year. Bruz also is a veteran for the United States military, and I can guarantee his troop was thankful he had them on their side. He is one of the only cowboys from North Dakota that could and should be in the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame in multiple categories. When you look up cowboy in the dictionary, you will see a picture of Robert Bruz Luger. Sincerely, Chad O. Berger. And Bruz's son Paloney is here.
Good afternoon. My name is Paloney Luger. I'm one of 5 of Bruz's children. I have no idea what district I'm from either, so I'm sorry. First, I want to read some words that my younger brother wrote about my dad. I'm here to talk about Robert Luger on his behalf because he's a legend to us. The Luger Ranch, with over 100 years of business, has made a large impact on the surrounding area of Fort Yates. My dad kept my grandpa Butch Luger's dream alive, even after all the hardship he has encountered throughout his life, which I'm sure ranchers and farmers can understand that hardship. Bruz has been an amazing mentor to many saddle bronc, bulldoggers, and team ropers, and even has led many of them to state championships, not to mention his record as a boxing coach. He is the true example of an all-around cowboy. He deals with a firm handshake and would give you the shirt off his back if you thought you needed it. I feel very privileged to have learned the cattleman trade from my dad so that I can continue on running this operation that my grandfather started, and that wouldn't be possible without the true grit and passion that my dad, Robert Bruz Luger, had and continues to have to this day. He is my hero and is to many, many others. He is already a Hall of Fame cowboy in our family's eyes. And just to reiterate my brother's words, a couple of lessons that stick with me my whole life is that my dad come from an era that it's eye contact and a firm handshake is better than a signature, because if your word, isn't worth a damn, then neither is your signature. Something else that kind of resonates with me throughout my life, which is, I guess maybe it's a little crude, I don't know. He said, well, when you're out riding, if you fall off or get bucked off, you got to get back on if you want to make it back home, which really works in a lot of different aspects of your life. Phil handed me a big sheet of his accolades that is too much to read off. I'll just say I did see Bruz rope a tornado one time, swear. Please consider Bruz Luger. Thank you very much.